You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Mike Olivas.
What's happening, guys? Today I'm chatting with Justin Quigley. He is the founder and CEO of Fresh Talent. No, that is not a dating app. Okay, what he does, he specializes in human capital management. Justin has over 10 years of experience working with organizations around the United States to help them better understand the people side of their business. All right, Justin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for taking the time. So tell our listeners something interesting about yourself and also where you're calling in from today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm calling in from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and some people call it the flyover state, but I was born and raised here, and I don't think I'm going anywhere. My wife is from here as well, so we've got 4 kids, and we're very active. We got one that's a 4-year-old, and one is as old as 18, graduating this year, so dealing with a lot of that. But I guess something interesting about myself is aside from my business that I own, Fresh Talent, I'm also an executive director with the John Maxwell team. So I've been mentored and I've listened to John and his elite faculty for a number of years now. So that's very exciting to be part of that exclusive elite team of individuals.
Tell me, when did you get involved with John Maxwell?
I joined it'd be 2 years ago. Cool. with the team, and so yeah, we've kind of fully immersed ourselves into the organization. So we're really excited to see what the future holds for us there.
So tell us a little bit about your company, Fresh Talent. It's not a dating site, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Cool. So
it's not a dating site.
Okay, it's not a dating site. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Fresh Talent. I'm just screwing with you. So tell us a little bit about freshtalent.com and what it does and kind of what it brings to the marketplace and obviously its value.
Absolutely. So Fresh Talent, we are a human capital management agency, and we focus on helping businesses better understand their people. Cool. Especially now more than ever. I mean, as you well know, and everybody that's watching or listening, there's some unprecedented times upon us here, and really it kind of comes down to not only understanding your employees, but when you go to acquire talent, right? You're looking for good people. You got to make sure that you're going to have the right people on the bus, and so we really help and instrument are very instrumental, on helping organizations acquire talent, but we're also deeply involved in engaging and then ultimately retaining the talent as well.
Good to great, right people on the bus.
Yeah, absolutely. Great book,
right,
Jim Collins.
Oh, man. Jim Collins. Yeah. If you're listening to this and you haven't went and picked up a copy of Jim Collins, that's going to be our Justin and I's book recommendation for this episode of the podcast. So, given our current situation right now with COVID-19, the outbreak and its effect on just the entire world, obviously, but let alone our country and the US here, and just millions, like literally millions of businesses, and probably hundreds of thousands of them going out of business now. Like, has your company been affected by this? And if so, how?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So we do have an office that we all work out of. And when this whole pandemic started, we were kind of uncertain. We're in a very large office building with other businesses. And one morning, it was a Wednesday morning, I'll never forget it. I got a call from the director of the building and said, "Hey, someone has tested positive for COVID-19 in the building." Jeez. And I went back and I said to my employees, I said, "Pack up your stuff. We're going home. We're going to work remotely." So that's really been it's interesting, and we're not the only ones. I mean, there's millions and millions of people that have been forced to work from home, and I think honestly, looking at this whole situation, there's going to be a lot of good that comes from this. So that's what we're really excited about.
Yeah, it really is teaching all of us. I think the remote thing, I think that's, for a lot of us, like for me, for example, I'm used to it. Like I wake up and I either am podcasting or I am running my companies virtually, and everyone that I have are in literally different states that work for the company. So, but That's not the norm for the majority of not necessarily corporate America, but small businesses as well. Like it's just not. And so how was that a challenge, by the way? In terms specifically, was it just networking, literally like on different networks or connecting different drives? Like what was the biggest challenge you felt like from going from, a office space to someone working out of their extra bedroom?
Yeah, another great question. So one thing that I would say that was a challenge, it still is, as we still kind of fight through this, is I've got 3 of my 4 kids they're in school.
That's the challenge.
I found myself not only running my business from home, but I was also a teacher. I was a housekeeper, a
oh,
cook.
wow.
I mean,
That's
you
right.
name it. I mean, so really thrown into the mix with everything, and trying to maintain the stance with my business and make sure my kids' homework is done. But really, it comes down to, and we're in the people business anyway. So
Right.
if we're not in front of people, if we're not talking to people, whether it be over the phone or video conference, we're not going to be able to keep afloat. We're not going to be able to keep going. So
I think
it was important for us.
I think it's kind of done a little bit, and I don't know, maybe you would agree with it, Justin, but like I look at things like even the Today Show, or when I'm even podcasting on video, there could be a kid jumping on one of my interviewees like yourself's lap, right? Or a cat jumping on that's happened on the table. And I'm just like, dude, what's happening? But this creates the human factor where I think people are like, okay, we're all human. We're not shirt and ties. We're not, or we're not like, board shorts and backwards hat for my case, a lot of times with like the types of industries I work with. But really a lot of it is like understanding that there's a human factor that goes into it, that I hope that people will take that out of it. Like, okay, everyone has their own life at home. And like you said, definitely I can hear the kids in the background half the time. And that's all right, man. But I get it. It is it's like, what are you going to do? Like, that's where everyone's at. Everyone's at home right now. So tell us a little bit about like any kind of tough decisions that you've had to make specifically due to the COVID-19 epidemic.
I think the toughest decisions is just really looking at our business as a whole. We, outside of the human capital management side of things, we also have had slated and scheduled out multiple trainings with a lot of our clients. We had several events scheduled for people to come into, whether it be a sales training or leadership development, communication, I mean, you name it. So we, some of the tough decisions there was, okay, how do we pivot here? What are we going to do and make sure that we can still kind of maintain that networking stance? And we've really kind of grasped that and took a hard stance on, hey, we're gonna start to see some changes here. So we did take to the video platforms like many people did. And what's been interesting about that is they've obviously been flooded, right? They're overloaded. And then of course you've got technical issues and things audio not playing or the video not turning on. And so that's been challenging, but we're all working through it, right? We'll all get through it as long as we keep pushing forward.
And it sounds like your company you have a different approach or a more innovative approach to the HR or the recruitment world, right? How is that? I'd like to get your thoughts on just that world, because obviously you would know your expert opinion on, are people thinking about looking for new or just are they continuously looking for new positions? I don't think they've given up. Most people, I hope, are going to be optimistic about trying to get back into the workforce from a professional standpoint. But what kind of differences or changes have you seen on the recruitment level?
Yeah, so on the recruiting side, there's been a shift there with several industries, but really what it comes down to is the fact that we have technology and we haven't been utilizing it to its fullest, right? So we've had a lot of our organizations that we work with, some of our clients that have opted to host the video interviews. And you know what, I think what we're going to see with that moving forward is that's going to be kind of the norm. I mean, that's going to be something that companies pick up. And, yes, there's the human element of being in the same room and sitting across the table from somebody and having a conversation, but you can do that with video as well. So we've seen a big shift in that. And what's really exciting is we're going to see even a greater shift in that moving forward, and just eliminating the phone call, right? We can't learn a whole lot about somebody just by talking to them on the phone. But if we can see them and hear them talk and how they respond to questions and situations, it's a whole new level. And we're excited about it because we are definitely ones to embrace change. And when change happens, we don't just look back at it and say, we can't do this. We got to push forward. We got to make the change and make it happen.
What's happening, Life Nation? Michael Levis here. This is a time to do the right thing, not the profitable thing. I'm giving away COVID-19 business strategy sessions for free. I promise to give you my honest advice and coach you on a strategy that I feel would be best for the longevity of your business. I'm not asking you for your money, but in the interest of being able to help as many people as I can, I am asking you to be ready with your 1 to 2 specific questions so we can jump right into it. Go to michaelolivas.com/coaching and simply schedule a call on my calendar. That's MIKEOLIVAS.com/coaching. That's right. I think, and you definitely hit the nail on the head there, man, in terms of just people knowing that there is light at the end of the tunnel, especially for a firm like yours, a national group travel company and tech company like mine, that one of my businesses are just stopped. Like obviously all revenues, and most companies did, right? Like I'm no different, but those that I think pivot, innovate, and are ready and prepared, of course, people are going to be excited to travel when the time comes. There's 36 million people unemployed. What do you think? Where do you think they're going to go? I mean, they're going to be looking at every possible agency and or assistance to go out there and find work, right? And that's important, I think. So those that are there, it could. I mean, we both know it's going to take a year or two, but we know that influx will be there. Being prepared for that is what everyone hopefully should be doing right now. And that's the objective I give my clients and others out there, that at the end of the day, cut whatever is not necessary for short term and look at long term, because there is no short term game right now. It's just really up in the air. Really, it's going to be all long term game. So it's kind of like ads, and unless they're strategic to long term, out. SEO, good, right? Those kind of small little things where people start understanding where they reinvest. What specific advice would you give to some of the current business owners right now that are having to either close their doors and let go of employees? What kind of things can you give them from your experience with all of this?
Yeah, another great question. I think the one piece of advice that I would give anybody in the business world, whether you do own a business yourself or you work for an organization, I think just you've got to keep moving. You can't let this fear take over. You can't let it consume your life. And we've got a job to do, and we've got, in my case, kids' mouths to feed and a roof to pay for. So I think really it comes down to keeping the windshield open, right? Keep looking forward. How are you going to make sure that you come out of this ahead? And one thing that we really drive home with is the education piece and adding value to yourself. And I think now more so than ever, I've spent time in the evenings working. In fact, on Wednesday night, I was at my office until almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And, and I did that before this situation, but I didn't do it as often.
Absolutely.
I find myself reading more books, right? Again, Jim Collins, Good to Great, phenomenal read. And that'll just start to help you develop that mindset and how you're going to push through this and make it out on top at the end.
Absolutely. That's great advice. And thank you for that, Justin. I think a lot of times people, I think I have it written on my laptop right here. It says patience, right? And it says no expectations. And really a lot of this is just the expectation factor that things are going to happen quickly. And if you're that kind of entrepreneur out there, and a lot of us are, we're all type A's, we're like, we wanted it yesterday and we want things. And it's just, we assume that progress is revenues, and it is, right? We have to measure that with it as a business owner, but it's understanding that you can't control it and let go of it. It's so hard to tell someone that's like, what do you mean I can't control my own destiny right now? Because it's not. It's a very invisible virus and issue that nobody can. It's almost like you're trying to time the market. Good luck, right? So we don't know, but what we do know is what you can control is what you do and what defines progress, what defines productivity for your company. And I hope that people are listening and understanding that. Okay, draw the line down. What's necessary, what's not, get rid of what's not, and what can we do to be in the best possible position, I think. So I think that's really good. That's a really good point you mentioned, because a lot of times people are just kind of freaking out. And it's okay to freak out a little bit, because it's okay, because you
Sure.
know, it'd be weird if you didn't, right? It'd be awkward if you didn't freak out a little bit about no money coming in the door immediately. What kind of support or any kind of resources that you've been able to kind of see out there that you felt have been educational for you?
Yeah, I mean, so here in Sioux Falls, we've
Yeah.
got a very strong entrepreneurial community, and it's just outstanding. So,
Awesome.
and there's a large Facebook group that everybody follows that is in that community, and there's just a lot of good resources. We've actually been offering up some of our training for free. We've been offering it
Good.
for free to individuals because we want to make sure that they can understand where they're currently at in the situation, and then how they're going to be able to get themselves out of it on the back end. So I mean, especially looking at this, this is a fishing shirt.
I like that shirt.
Thank you. I was supposed to go fishing tonight with my dad, but one of my employees had come down, and we're going to be just grinding away tonight on a bunch of things. So I've got to sacrifice. I can't go out and catch my walleye that I want to. I got to keep focused here. So
yeah. Well, we got to make some sacrifices, I guess. And it's funny you mentioned that earlier too, that staying up till 2 a.m. and the midnight grinds that we're used to initially in the first part of the business. And sometimes a lot of time, like every once in a while, obviously we still got to do that, but it's odd. Those that are doing that are just, all that means is luckily that I remind some of the people I chat with or have coaching calls with that a lot of times is you've done this before. You got to do it again. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but you're not rebuilding. You're kind of pivoting a little bit, but really not rebranding either. You're just really reinventing and kind of repurposing the way that you do things, but you've done it before. You put in the time and effort before, and sure, it's easy to get complacent and have everyone. I mean, the goal is to obviously get this thing as a well-oiled operational systems machine, right? Of course. But when it's all said and done, I think some of these entrepreneurs that I'm talking to, just like yourself, are putting in the grind. Is we just realize that's what has to happen now. So we just do it. Right?
Yeah,
it's just
one thing to that, I think really a word that I have been just saying to myself over and over, and it's a discipline.
Yeah.
I know I need to remain disciplined and in order to push through this, and I'm like any other, stressed out business owner that I like to have an occasional cocktail or beer in the evenings and whatnot.
Absolutely.
I've eliminated that. The last 6 weeks, I have not had a drop of alcohol during the week. Now the weekends I kind of let loose a little bit, and that's kind of my wind down time. But I'm not. This may seem so trivial, but it's actually helping me remain focused. It's helping me understand where my business is at, and then helping me understand where my employees are at, so I can continue to add value to them. So they have faith not only in me, but this process, right? The system that we have in place, that it does work. We got to keep moving forward though, and without that, the word action kind of sticks out so much to me, that you've got to take action.
I love that, man. I love to hear that in a virtual fist bump on the no booze. That's awesome. because like I'm in the same boat. I haven't touched it in general. I've had a couple of glasses of wine on a Zoom call with some old high school friends, and I woke up feeling like shit, to be honest with you. But it was great. It was great, and it was fun. I was like, wow, I had 2 glasses of wine. But I think that if you're a business owner, you're listening, and this is I took this to heart with some of my mentors as well, that we've kind of discussed it prior to when this all happened, is that there's too many people and myself depending on the actions that I take on a day-to-day basis. If my mind's not extremely clear, then what am I doing? Right. So I have started keto when that happened, and I've dropped LBs like crazy. And also I'm on the beach every day running, and I'm just in the mindset that this is what needs to happen. I guarantee coming out of this, sure, I might have 2 beers and feel a tipsy, but I'm going to be excited to do something. But it's also, I know what needs to happen right now, and too much rides on this, right? And so it's important to have that clear mind and just be ready to hit the day. And of course, you can get a lot more things done, obviously, when you're in just a clear state of mind, and also not kind of hazy from, all the sugar and booze from the night before. But yeah, I think that, doesn't mean you can't still celebrate some wins out there, guys, of course, but definitely, hopefully we can give some more motivation to people out there to kind of refocus. Before I let you go here, where can people find you if they want to learn more about your company?
Absolutely. So our website is findfreshtalent.com, like FINDFRESH talent.com. We do have a Facebook page as well. One other thing that's really unique that we also do, where you can find us as part of the John Maxwell team, we have the exclusive rights to host events every year called Live to Lead. And that is also a Facebook page that is called Live to Lead South Dakota. And last year, it was an incredible year. We actually traveled. We put on 11 separate events. We're all over South Dakota. We were in Colorado, So we really are trying to bring the leadership development aspect to everybody. And one thing that we do know is there's definitely a what do we call a leadership vacuum happening right now. So Live to Lead is an excellent avenue for us as well. So yeah, Fresh Talent, find freshtalent.com and Live to Lead South Dakota on Facebook as well.
Awesome, Justin. Thank you so much for dropping some of these knowledge bombs with us today.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun.
Life Nation, you got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Liebus, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.